All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling WHY,
Ooh, yeah, the big WHY.
made famous by Simon Sinek.
Right, right.
We're using his book, Find Your Why.
Co-authored with David Mead and Peter Docker.
A whole team on this one. Think of this deep dive as like a crash course in uncovering your WHY.
I like that, a crash course.
That hidden purpose, the thing that fuels you.
Yeah, it's not always obvious.
No, it's deep down. By the end, you'll get why this even matters.
The WHY of the WHY.
Exactly. And how it changes how you work, make decisions, even connect with people.
It's powerful stuff, really.
It is. So it's not just about, wanting a raise
No.
or a fancy car.
It's deeper.
It's those values that drive you.
At work, at home, everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. Okay, so Sinek has this thing, the golden circle.
Right, famous golden circle.
WHY's in the center.
Then how W and then what?
How does that actually play out in real life?
Okay, so think of it like this. The golden circle, it's kind of how our brains work. Yeah, the WHY, that sits in the limbic system.
Deep in there.
It handles emotions, decision-making.
Gut feelings.
That's it, gut feelings. Like when you just know.
And you can't explain it.
Okay, that's your limbic system talking.
So our gut's like, pay attention.
And the logical brain's playing catch-up.
Right. Then there's how W.
In the middle.
The actions. When you're at your best.
Is your best self, yeah?
The principles you live by.
Guiding you.
Then what? On the outside.
Tangible stuff.
Job, tasks, all that.
The everyday things.
But most people, they talk from the outside in.
That's Sinek's point.
They start with what they do.
Maybe how to be.
But the WHY rarely gets there.
Nope. But inspiring leaders, Sinek says they flip it.
They start with WHY.
So if I'm explaining my business idea, I shouldn't lead with, what I'm selling.
You could, but
It's not inspiring.
connect it to your WHY first.
Why are you doing it?
That's the hook.
Okay. When you do that, you connect deeper with people.
You do. It's about shared values. Have you ever loved a brand and not known why?
All the time.
I love this coffee shop.
I too, there's this one.
It's not just the coffee, it's the vibe.
The feel, yeah.
Their commitment to, fair trade.
Supporting local artists.
That all clicks.
That's WHY in action, see?
It's powerful. Knowing your WHY, you make choices that fit your values, connect with people who share them, and you end up feeling more fulfilled.
In everything you do.
How do we go from knowing about WHY to figuring out our own?
It's already there,
It is.
It's not something you invent.
Okay.
It's about uncovering who you are at your best.
Okay.
Sinek says, look back.
To the past.
Your most impactful stories.
Oh, okay. The moments that made you you. Graduating,
Could be.
getting that dream job.
Or smaller things.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes the everyday stuff is more telling.
Like what?
A childhood memory, a conversation with someone,
No.
that time you overcame something hard.
So it's not all big dramatic events.
Not necessarily, no.
What if my memory's kind of fuzzy?
He suggests writing stuff down.
10 things.
At least 10, yeah. Defining moments.
Big or small.
Doesn't matter, just write.
Don't overthink it.
Nope, just get it out.
Nah.
And this is interesting. He says our WHY is usually formed by our late teens.
Really?
Yeah. So going back to those early memories, it can be super insightful.
Connecting the dots.
Exactly. Who you were then, who you are now.
It's not just what we were good at.
It's what felt meaningful, even back then.
Even way back when.
Yep. And having a partner in this helps.
A partner.
Someone who can listen to your stories.
Yeah.
They might see patterns you miss.
Help you connect the dots.
Like a WHY detective.
I like that.
They help you figure out, why do those random memories matter?
And how they connect to your WHY.
Right.
Okay, so we're uncovering these stories, these nuggets. But what do we do once we've got them?
Then the real detective work starts.
Okay.
Finding themes, what values keep showing up.
Beliefs, passions.
Words or phrases that pop up a lot.
So it's not listing things I've done.
It's deeper.
It's the golden thread that connects everything.
Exactly that, the golden thread. Once you've got those themes, you can start crafting your why statement.
Okay.
A clear purpose.
Using a specific framework.
Yeah. No. So that,
Give us an example.
okay, the book talks about David Mead, one of the authors. His first try was to propel positive change so that people can live a more fulfilled life.
Okay, makes sense.
But he refined it. It became to give people a glimpse of what's possible so that they have the freedom to choose a different path.
It's more specific. It's not just about change. It's about empowering people,
Exactly.
giving them the freedom to create the life they want.
See, his WHY goes way beyond just his daily work.
It's bigger.
It's the impact he wants to make on the world.
That's powerful.
That's the point of a good why statement. It captures what you contribute and the impact you have on others.
That's a lot to live up to.
It is, but it's not enough to just write it down, right?
Right.
You got to live it. Make choices that align with it.
Okay. Let it guide your actions every day.
Not just a one-time thing.
It's like a compass,
It points you in the right direction.
but you still have to choose to follow it.
You do.
The statement isn't the destination, it's the journey.
That's a good way to put it. The book tells this story about Steve. He sold steel.
It's ideal.
Yeah. But he realized his WHY was sustainability.
Not just selling metal.
No, bigger than that. And he shared it with everyone,
Everyone.
even strangers on a plane.
Was he, like, pitching steel on a plane?
No,
Yeah.
just talking about what mattered to him. That's the key,
Sharing it.
Makes it real.
Helps you connect with people who get it.
Who resonate with it, yeah.
So once you know it,
It just flows into your conversations.
you don't even have to try.
It becomes part of who you are.
Every interaction, a chance to share it.
With a colleague, a friend, anyone.
Okay, I'm getting this.
Huh.
But this is all individual WHY, right?
Right.
Can teams have a WY or even like a whole company?
Absolutely. Sinek calls them nested WHYs. Individuals, teams, organizations, they're all interconnected.
Like those Russian dolls.
Exactly. Each one fits inside a bigger one. It's not forcing everyone to have the same WHY.
Okay,
It's recognizing how individual passions contribute to the larger purpose.
I like that.
Right. So my team's WHY might support my company's WHY. It's all connected.
Makes sense. Okay, so before we go further, let's talk about Hey W.
Ah, yes, the HOW.
That middle ring of the golden circle. Those are the actions we take when we're living our WHY at our best.
You're right. It's about who you already are.
Not who we're trying to be.
No, it's about those principles that guide you when you're in the zone. Working with passion and purpose.
Ah, okay.
Not trying to be someone else.
It's understanding what makes me tick when I'm doing my best work.
Exactly.
I like that. Are there examples in the book of how this works? Like, does Sinek share any of his own HOWs?
Oh, yeah, he does.
Like what?
Well, one of his is focus on the long term.
Makes sense. He's all about lasting impact. Any others?
Build trust. He believes that's key for strong relationships in work and life.
So he walks the walk.
He does. It's not just talk.
What else?
Share everything.
Ideas, feelings, all that.
The whole package.
That's tough for some people.
It is. But he believes that open communication leads to more collaboration, more innovation.
It all seems very connected to his WHY, genuine connection, making a positive impact.
Right.
So it's like his HOWs are the building blocks for his WHY.
That's a good way to think about it.
Once you know your own HOWs,
You can use them for everything.
making decisions, setting goals.
Building your team, even.
So if my WHY is to inspire creativity,
Yeah.
my how W might be to always seek out new perspectives.
I like that. Yeah. It becomes a guide for how you approach everything.
Every project, every interaction.
Exactly.
This is great, but how do we take these abstract ideas, WHY and HOW, and turn them into actions, real-world stuff?
That's where what comes in.
Okay.
That outer ring of the golden circle.
Oh, right.
The tangible things you do.
Your job, your daily tasks.
The key is those whats need to come from your WHY and have you.
Ah, so it's not just doing stuff
It's about making sure everything you do lines up with your purpose.
and your principles.
Yep.
That's kind of hard to measure, though.
It can be. Sinek tells a story about a leader who came to him wanting to create a more people-centric workplace.
Sounds right up his alley.
You'd think so.
Right.
But this leader, he was all about quick results.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not really Sinek's style.
Quick results doesn't exactly scream long-term trust building.
Exactly. And Sinek saw that right away.
Remember his how tell you, focus on the long term.
It clashed.
Their WHYs might have been similar.
But their HOWs were totally different.
So knowing your WHY and how tell you helps you choose the right projects, the right people to work with.
You got it.
You find the ones whose actions match your values.
That's the power of this framework. It helps you create a more fulfilling experience.
At work and in life.
Everywhere.
Wow, this is a lot to process.
It is.
I'm already thinking about how I approach my work, my relationships.
That's the point.
And we'll get to nested WHYs later.
Oh, we'll get there.
This has been incredible so far. But before we move on, I'd love to hear your thoughts on bringing your WHY to life through action.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
It's not enough to have a nice statement, right?
Nope, got to take action.
We have to actually do something with it.
You do.
What does that even look like?
Let's explore that
Yeah.
after a quick break.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we're back. We talked about finding our WHY, and we even kind of touched on a how W.
Yeah, that middle part.
But how do we, actually bring all of this to life?
Make it real, not just some concept.
It can't just be a feel-good thing.
No, it has to be about action. Sinek and his co-authors, they have this whole chapter called Take a Stand.
Take a stand.
Yeah, it's all about living your WHY.
Oh, okay.
Making choices that actually show your values. Just showing up authentically.
So how do we actually start living our WHY more, on purpose?
Intentionally, yeah.
Do we have to, shout it from the rooftops?
You could, but maybe start smaller.
Okay.
Check in with your WHY before you make decisions.
Big or small?
All of them, yeah. Think of it like a filter.
The filter.
Does it move me closer to my WHY or further away?
Oh, I see. So, if my WHY is to help people connect with nature, and I get offered a job promoting, concrete,
Yeah,
I might want to rethink that.
probably, yeah.
But what about smaller stuff? Everyday decisions?
They matter too. The book suggests talking about your WHY, weaving it into conversations.
At work?
At work, with friends, family.
Oh, so it's not just when I'm making some big career move.
Right, it's all the time.
It's part of my daily life, my conversations.
Exactly. Your WHY should guide your choices, your actions, even the small ones.
I like that. And this isn't just for, individuals, right? Organizations can do this too.
Oh, yeah, big time. We touched on nested WHYs earlier.
Right. Those Russian dolls.
It's taking all those individual WHYs and weaving them together to create a shared purpose for the whole team.
So it's aligning everyone.
Right. And Sinek talks about how HOWs are different from core values, which companies usually have.
Most companies do have values, yeah.
But they're often not very effective.
How so?
A lot of companies, they say things like integrity, innovation.
Oh, yeah. Those are common.
But they're kind of vague, They don't really tell you how to act.
It's like saying be good.
Exactly. Without saying what good even means.
Okay, so HOWs are specific instructions for how to actually live those values.
You got it. And they should always be connected to the company's WHY.
So they're a direct expression of the company's purpose.
Right.
This makes me think about hiring.
Oh, yeah.
If you're looking for someone who fits the company culture, you can look for candidates whose HOWs match the company's HOWs.
Smart, yeah.
It's not just about their skills, it's about finding someone who, vibes with the company's WHY.
A cultural fit. The book has a great example of this.
Oh.
They talk about this company called La Marzocco. They make espresso machines.
Fancy ones, right?
The high-end ones, yeah.
The kind you see in those coffee shops with, the serious baristas?
Exactly.
What's their WHY?
Well, they did this whole process, the tribe-wide discovery thing.
Okay.
And they realized their WHY wasn't just making machines.
It wasn't.
It was about bringing people together. Community, connection, all that.
Oh, wow.
So they started doing all these things.
Oh, what?
Hosting events about coffee culture, supporting coffee-growing communities,
Cool.
even designing their factory in a way that encourages collaboration.
So their WHY, it wasn't just some marketing thing.
No way.
It was the foundation for everything they did.
It was real.
Wow, that's a powerful example of how WHY can change a company. It's not just about selling stuff. It's about, making a difference.
It is.
But bringing your WHY to life, it's not always easy, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be challenges.
Oh, for sure. One of the big ones is staying consistent.
It's easy to lose sight of your WHY when you're busy with, everyday life.
Right. It's like life happens.
Exactly. So how do we stay focused on it, keep it front and center?
The book suggests reminders.
Reminders.
Yeah, like the visual cues in your workspace. Talking to a friend who knows your WHY. Or just taking a few minutes to reflect.
Just think about it.
Yeah, like athletes visualize their goals. We can do the same with our WHY.
I like that. Okay, so we're staying focused, but what about other people? What if they're not on board with this whole WHY thing?
That's going to happen. Not everyone's going to jump on board right away.
Some people might be, cynical.
Oh, yeah. Or even threatened by it.
Threatened.
Yeah, it can be scary to think about purpose.
I guess it can feel like you're being judged or something.
Right, like your WHY isn't good enough.
Exactly. So how do you deal with those people, the naysayers?
The book talks a lot about empathy. Try to understand where they're coming from.
Maybe they've had a bad experience.
Maybe they've worked for a company that talked about purpose, but didn't actually live it.
So they're just, like, jaded.
Yeah, so it's about recognizing their perspective,
Yeah.
not just dismissing them as negative.
Okay, I can see that.
And then it's about patience.
You can't force it.
No, you can't. It's like planting a seed, you know?
Yeah.
It needs time to grow.
So lead by example.
Exactly. Show them what it looks like to live your WHY. You might be surprised at how contagious it can be.
People might see you doing it and want to try it themselves.
That's the hope, yeah. It creates this ripple effect.
It impacts everyone around you.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, but the book also gives, like, a framework for actually putting HOWs into action, right?
Yeah, they call it a 3-step process.
Okay.
It starts with going back to those themes we found during the why discovery process.
Those nuggets.
Remember those? We picked the shiniest one to be our WHY.
Right. The best one.
But we still have a whole bunch of other nuggets left.
What do we do with those?
This is where they come in. Sinek says, pick no more than 5.
5.
Yeah, 5 seems to be the magic number.
Yeah.
5 themes that you'll develop into your HOWs.
Why 5?
It keeps it manageable, you know, not too overwhelming.
5 ingredients for, like, the perfect recipe.
I like that, the perfect blend.
Not too much, not too little.
Exactly. So once you have your 5 themes, you got to turn them into action statements.
How do you do that?
So let's say one of your themes is optimism.
Okay.
You can turn that into something like, find the positive in every situation.
Oh, I see.
Or always look for the silver lining.
Make it active.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Action-oriented. Something that will guide your behavior.
Okay, but we're not just making a random list of actions.
No, there's more to it. The last step is to give each HAW some context.
Explain it.
Yeah, write a short description. What does this HAW mean to you? How will you put it into practice?
So I'm not just saying be optimistic.
No, you're digging deeper.
I'm figuring out what that looks like in my everyday life.
In your work, your relationships, how you make decisions.
It's like a user manual for my best self.
That's a great way to put it. Sinek tells this story about a time when he had to give a workshop.
A workshop.
Yeah, about finding your WHY. But it was for a huge audience, way bigger than he was used to.
That sounds tough.
It was. And he had to figure out how to make it work. He and Peter Docker, who was helping him with the workshop, they started by taking a step back.
Okay.
They wanted to see the big picture.
Get some perspective.
Exactly. They had this how to get up on the balcony.
Get up on the balcony.
It means seeing the whole situation from a distance, getting a wider view.
I like that. So before you jump into action, you take a pause.
Right. Make sure you're approaching the challenge in a way that aligns with your WHY.
Smart.
Then they had to get creative.
Creative.
Yeah, Sinek had this other explore alternative perspectives.
Makes sense. You can't always rely on the same old methods.
You got to adapt. Find new ways of doing things, but still stay true to your WHY.
That's a tough balance.
It can be. And then, once they had a plan, they used Docker's How W. Make things simple.
Keep it clear.
Exactly. They wanted to communicate clearly with the client, make sure everyone was on the same page.
So they were using their HOWs not just for themselves, they
No.
were using them to work together more effectively.
Collaboration, yeah. That's the power of HOWs, you see. They're not just ideas, they're tools.
Tools for what?
For navigating challenges, making decisions, working with other people.
This is a great example of how they work in real life.
They're practical.
Yeah, not just some abstract concept.
And it shows how important it is to be adaptable. Sometimes you have to step outside your comfort zone to stay true to your WHY.
Okay, so we've got WHY, we've got How W.
The 2 inner rings.
Now, how do we bring it all together with what? That outer ring.
Right, the what's are the tangible things you do.
My job, my project.
Your daily tasks.
Right.
But the key is they have to be a direct expression of your WHY and How W.
So it's not just doing things randomly.
It's about making sure your actions line up with your purpose.
With your principles, your values.
All of it, yeah.
This makes me think about, like, all the decisions we make every day.
Mm-hmm.
Are we choosing projects that actually reflect our WHY?
That's the question.
Or are we just, like, going through the motions?
Sinek tells another story about this. A leader came to him wanting to create a more people-centric workplace.
That's good so far.
You'd think so, right? Seems like it would align with Sinek's WHY.
Yeah, totally.
But the leader, he was really focused on quick results.
Uh-oh. Red flag.
Yeah, not a good sign.
Yeah.
Remember Sinek's HOW? Focus on the long term.
Totally clashes.
It did. Their WHYs might have been similar, but their HOWs were totally different.
So you might think you're aligned with someone, but
But when you look at how you approach things, it's a different story.
Knowing your WHY and how W helps you figure that out.
It helps you decide if you're really a good fit with a project, a person, a company.
It's about more than just what you're doing.
It's about how you're doing it and whether that aligns with your values.
This has been so insightful. I'm starting to see how I can use this.
It's a powerful framework.
For making decisions, choosing projects, building teams, even those tough conversations.
It can help with all of that.
But we've been talking a lot about individual WHY and how that translates into action.
Right.
What about bringing WHY to life within an organization? How does that actually work?
That's a great question, and it's something Sinek spends a lot of time talking about. It takes intention, communication, and leadership.
It's a whole process.
It is. Ready to dive into that?
Absolutely. But let's take a quick pause first. We'll be right back to explore the world of organizational WHY. All right, so we're back and ready to tackle this. How do organizations actually bring their WHY to life? We've talked about personal WHY, the HOWs.
Right.
But how does all this work at, like, a company level?
Good question. It's not just about writing a mission statement, framing it, and calling it a day.
Definitely not.
Sinek and his co-authors, they talk about this idea of leadership embodiment. So it's not enough for leaders to just say what the WHY is.
They have to actually, like, live it.
Got to walk the walk, be role models for the WHY, show those values in everything they do.
Yeah, I'm picturing those companies with, like, super strong cultures.
Yeah.
You can just feel the WHY in everything they do.
Totally. How they treat their employees, the stuff they make, how they talk to customers.
It's all connected.
Exactly. When a company really embraces its WHY, it guides every single thing they do.
It's not just marketing, it's
who they are.
woven into their DNA. So how do companies actually do this? Go from having a WHY to living it.
Sinek lays out a few things. First, they got to communicate it all the time.
Constantly.
Constantly. It can't just be a poster in the break room.
Right, it's got to be more than that.
Way more. Put it in meetings, training, marketing stuff, even performance reviews.
Keep reminding everyone WHY they're there.
Exactly. Like a drumbeat, keeping everyone aligned and inspired.
But it's got to be backed up with action, right?
Absolutely. Words aren't enough. The next thing is making sure all the decisions they make line up with the WHY.
Well,
Every action, every project, every dollar they spend.
it's got to reflect those core values.
It does. This is where a lot of companies mess up. They have a nice WHY statement, but their actions tell a different story.
They're not walking the walk. It's easy to slip up, especially as a company gets bigger, more complicated.
Oh yeah, it's a constant challenge. That's why Sinek talks about creating ways for employees to connect with the WHY personally.
How do they do that?
Think about companies that encourage volunteering, for example,
Okay, yeah.
or community involvement, stuff that lines up with their mission. It gives people a chance to actually experience the WHY.
See how it makes a difference?
Right. It's not just talking about it, it's feeling it.
Like the difference between reading about a place and going there.
Exactly. And when employees feel that connection, they get more invested, more passionate.
They become like champions for the WHY.
Inside the company, yeah.
I love that. So we've got communication, aligning actions with the WHY, personal connection.
The big ones.
Anything else companies can do to really bring it to life.
Sinek says it's important to celebrate successes.
Successes that, like, fit the WHY.
Right. When people or teams do something that really embodies the company's purpose, recognize it, reward it, tell everyone about it.
Positive reinforcement.
It shows people their actions matter, and it inspires others to do the same.
Makes sense. But what about the tough stuff, the challenges that come with embracing WHY?
Well, one of the biggest hurdles is cynicism.
People who just don't buy it.
They've seen too many companies talk about purpose, but not actually live it.
They're like, yeah, right, I've heard it all before.
Exactly. And that's where leadership really matters. Leaders have to be authentic. They have to demonstrate the WHY in everything they do.
So actions speak louder than words.
They really do. It's about building trust, showing people you're serious.
Consistency is key.
It is, and it takes time. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's a process.
A journey, not a destination.
Exactly. Be patient, be persistent, be willing to keep learning as you go.
I like that. So we've covered a lot. Individual WHY, HOWs, even how organizations can bring their WHY to life. But before we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I think we should address the elephant in the room.
Oh, the confusion about WHY.
Yeah, people have questions, misconceptions.
You're not always clear cut.
So what are some of the most common things people get wrong about WHY?
One question I hear a lot is, can my WHY be my family?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Family is super important, of course, and it can be a huge motivator, but it's not your WHY.
Okay, so why not? Family seems like such a central part of who we are.
It is, but remember, your WHY is about the impact you make on the world, your unique contribution, those things inside you that drive you to act, to create, to make a difference.
Family is more like...
A what, not a WHY.
Right, right. So it's how my WHY shows up in my family.
Exactly.
The values I bring to those relationships, how I impact my loved ones.
That's it. Another common question is, can I have more than one WHY?
Ooh, interesting.
And the answer is no. You only have one true WHY, that core purpose that drives everything you do.
If you think you have multiple WHYs, you probably haven't found the real one yet.
You got to keep digging. Find the common thread that connects everything.
It's not a buffet where you can pick and choose your WHYs. What about when we feel lost? Like, we're not even sure what our WHY is anymore.
That's totally normal. It happens. The book talks about how understanding your WHY, it's a journey. It's not something you figure out once and you're done.
It changes and evolves over time.
Exactly. Like any important relationship, it has ups and downs. There will be times of clarity and times of doubt. The important thing is to keep coming back to it.
Let it guide you.
Use it as a source of strength and inspiration. Don't be afraid to revisit your stories, your why statement, your HOWs as you learn and grow.
It's okay if it takes time.
It's all part of the process. And remember, there are resources out there to help you.
Like what?
Sinek and his co-authors, they have a ton of stuff on their website.
Startwithwhy.com, right?
That's the one. Articles, videos, they even have a free course.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out.
I think our listeners would find it really helpful. And before we go, I want to leave everyone with one last thought.
Hit us with it.
Your WHY, it's not just an idea, it's a way of being.
How so?
It's about choosing to live and work with purpose, making decisions that align with your values, and trying to make a positive impact on the world.
It's about taking that treasure map we talked about and actually going on the adventure.
Yes. Face the challenges, embrace the rewards.
Because when you're living your WHY,
You're not just going through the motions.
you're making a difference. This has been an amazing exploration of WHY. I hope everyone listening feels inspired to find their own WHY and bring it to life.
You too.
Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about taking that first step. And then the next one. Guided by your purpose, your values. Until next time, keep exploring, keep inspiring, and keep diving deep.